Oh my gosh. I just did a whole live and there was no sound again because I was muted. So I'm redoing it right now. I'm Allison Kinnear. Welcome. Today we are going to talk about what happens when recovering imposters teach about imposter syndrome. That was me and my story. I'm going to take you back to 2018. In 2018, a friend of mine was working at Google. She had seen me talk before and she's like, you know what? I'm coordinating speakers and I thought of you. Do you want to come and give a talk? What are you talking about these days? And I was like, you know what? I haven't given a talk about this yet, but I've really been doing a lot of studying around imposter syndrome. And I wonder if that would be relevant to your folks at Amazon. And she said, yeah, that sounds great. We have a room for 50 people. Usually it doesn't fill up, but if that sounds like a really relevant topic. And so I jumped in and she started sharing with me all the registrants. And as time wore on, the 50 capacity room filled up like that. And then the registration just kept going and going and going. And at the end, there were over 800 people who had signed up to watch my talk on imposter syndrome. Whew, there is nothing like that kind of pressure and eyes to really fan the flames of imposter syndrome. We've been talking for this whole time about the 7 good reasons to feel like an imposter and working alone, which I was working alone, creating something new, which I was doing. I had been doing research, but I had never given a full workshop on it. And all the childhood messages, right? Like all of these conditions were really feeding into the imposter syndrome. So I worked diligently. I tried to nail it all down. I reached out to people. I had some trusted friends come with me, and then I gave the talk, and to 50 people in the room, and however many hundred of people watching virtually. And funny story, when I stood up in the middle of the room, I was like, gosh, there's this bright light shining on me. What is this? Is this a spotlight? Like, I don't get it. But I wanted to be in the middle of the room, right? Because I didn't want to be on the sides. There were a lot of people there. And so for the first part of my presentation, it took me a while to realize I was standing right in front of the projector was projecting my slides, and that bright light was the light of the projector. And so I was blocking my slides for the first part of my talk. And so I quickly then moved to the wings and everything went well. There were some difficult questions, but otherwise, things I felt like went okay. But in all honesty, I was blanked out by the end of it. I took my team out to lunch and we debriefed. And they were giving me good feedback, right? Like, you stood in front of the slide deck. Maybe next time, make sure you're not, standing in front of the projector. And they had some other, little feedback tips. But in all honesty, I couldn't hear it all. I was like in this vortex of embarrassment and shame and, like, oh my gosh, like, what did I do? Am I like, what's going on here? And so even though we had all debriefed, I was like, on the outside, I was like, oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a good thought. But on the inside, I was just dying. It was just like a plant wilting. And so on the drive home, one of the people that I took with me, Jen, she's my confidant, trusted person. She's going to tell me when things are good. She's also going to tell me when things are not good. She and I were in the car ride, and she's like, I said, so I need to ask, like, how was it really? Like, was I okay? Was it okay? And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like the presentation, was it okay? And she goes, we've just been talking about this for like over an hour. Like, what do you mean? Is it okay? And I'm like, you're not answering my question. She's like, but I don't get it. Like, what are you talking about? We've been talking about this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're still not answering my question. And she's like, I don't know what to say. And I'm like, she's like, why are you even asking this? And I said, I have imposter syndrome. It is a perception problem. I don't know how to perceive my work. All I can hear is all the ways I screwed up. And she's like, okay, okay. No, you did good. You did good. You had some mistakes, but they were little. Like in the grand scheme of things, it went really well. And I'm like, okay. And I was able to then take the leap of faith to trust that trusted mirror more than that constant voice in my head that's saying, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. That I had to take that leap. And so, what took me decades, because I used to just hide in that belief. I never reached out. I never really checked in. If I would be like, are you sure? But I would never take that leap of faith. I'd be like, oh, they were just being nice. Oh, that was just, Instead, I knew I needed to actually do that work and go, okay, today I'm going to believe Jen. And today I'm not going to believe, I'm going to turn the volume down on this noise in my head. That's what took me, instead of being decades of feeling in that agony of, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Instead of feeling that way kind of constantly, I was able to kind of turn the volume down in just a matter of hours. That's what's possible. And so last week, I know I gave my talk to folks who registered for my "You Are Not a Fraud: Overcoming Imposter Syndrome" talk, and I recorded it. So it is now available to you. I have improved things greatly since that Amazon talk long ago. So even if you've seen the talk before, it's worth watching again because there's been changes and improvements along the way. But if you want to see the talk, I will put a link in the description below. It's $49, and you can have access to help be able to turn that volume down on your inner critic and turn that volume up and trust in yourself more. Okay. And for those who register, there's a new class or a returning class that I am bringing. And for those who register, you will be getting a significant discount on that class if you attend or if you see the video of my workshop. If you want to learn more about this work, you can check me out at my website. And also, I sent a newsletter out kind of describing this story about Jen and me in the car in my newsletter. And so if you are not a part of my newsletter, I strongly encourage you to sign up. You can do so at my website. I send out emails to folks maybe once or twice a month. And I just sent another newsletter out about how to identify some of the behaviors. Sometimes we don't know we have imposter syndrome until you can kind of see it explained. And so that's what my latest newsletter is about. If you're interested, check it out on my website. I would love to see you and hear from you. All right. I will see you next week with volume up and on. I will see you then. Take care. Bye.